I wanted to bring it back down over to Houston. I saw something, a clip on the news the other day, and I thought this would be interesting for us to discuss because we've kind of talked about it before, but never on the show. So I'm going to play this little clip. Kind of wanted to get your view. You
know what's good for you, don't do it.
When people start telling me, why am I single? I'm just going to be like, I live in Houston. I live in Houston. That's the answer, baby. It ain't no explaining from there. Homes of the players and the pimps. Okay.
See, they ain't met Zach yet. Welcome and thank you for joining us for the second half hour of The Factor Uncensored. And apparently we're broadcasting live from one of the worst cities for dating in America. That's according to a new study. Houston holds a number 8 spot for one of the worst dating scenes. None of our neighbors here in the Lone Star State are on that top 10 list. Philadelphia's number 3, Los Angeles 2, and New York number 1. We found some folk who will talk about this problem or alleged problem here in the city of Houston.
But I think there's just so many options these days, and people want their cake and eat it too, and that's all it really is about. And I feel like relationships should be easy. Either you want to be all in or you don't. It's one or the other, but people play games, and I feel like it really is a lot of that.
Have you had a bad experience here in Houston or some bad experiences?
I've had several, but luckily I know the playbook. So, you know, they give it all. That's the problem with guys these days. They're giving away the playbook, so I already know what it is up front.
All right.
Yes.
And you gave some tips, like, early this week.
Yes, I've been posting about
these
it.
games in dating.
Exactly.
All right, Zach, let's hear from you.
I just feel like sex is happening too soon. I feel like people aren't taking the time to get to know each other. I feel like there's too many social media apps. Some people can't handle them.
So y'all don't want the sex too soon?
Yes, we do. Nah, we do not want
okay.
sex.
See, honesty. And I respect the honesty. Exactly.
We talked about that on the last part, but there's just too many social media apps. There's too many dating apps. I feel like everybody's you're just one click away from messaging somebody, vice versa, men and women.
Zach, those dating apps are in every city in America.
Facts. Houston's a bigger city. So I feel like that's a huge problem.
More fish in the pond. All right, Sharice, let's hear from you. Your thoughts about it?
I think it's 3 things. The situationships. I think people are more comfortable being in situationships. Not a lot of people are searching for relationships. Then, not to blame social media or Instagram, but it does play a part because that's like you say, like a Christian mingle. It's like a dating app. Most people are meeting people on Instagram. And so when you do that, you know, it starts off with a like, then the hearts, then the DM, and then you meet them, and they're not who they're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? They dirty. They don't have nothing going for themselves.
Physically, literally dirty.
I mean, they dirty. They don't have a window, a pot, you know, they don't have nothing going for themselves. So it's just, and window thrown out, it's just a waste of time. And then you have people who are in a relationship, and there's a lot of cheating going on. You know, back in the day, it used to be like, you know, you give your number, you tell them you in a relationship, and they'd be like, okay, well, you know, lucky man or something like that. Now it's like, well, I can be your friend, or call me when he gets you, you know, upset or whatever, when y'all get into it or whatever. So I think all of those play a part.
All right, Desmond, you think there's some legitimacy to what Sharice is saying?
Absolutely, but at the end of the day, you know, you get a chance to pick your poison, all right? In my mind, look, there are a couple of tips here in Houston, all right? When you meet a guy, FaceTime him, make sure he has all his teeth, okay? If he doesn't take care of his teeth, what will he take care of you? Will he take care of you? Now, at the end of the day, I want to make sure that I approach somebody that I actually like. A lot of people go out and just blamelessly date people for attention. So at the end of the day, you know what you want. And if you align to yourself, you'll further a lot of them. So at the end of the day, I'm only here to fulfill a need that you already want inside of you. So I'm just saying.
My thing is be honest, though. Like, if you just want to hook up, just say that. If you want to grow into something, then do that.
Absolutely, but lying is beneficial to a lot of people.
Exactly. Liars!
I used to lie a lot, but at the end of the day, I get what I want because I tell the truth. And if that's the case, her name is Jasper. She stays in Pearland back by the Buc-ee's. Okay, she's coming over tomorrow. She knows what it is and she knows what it ain't. At the end of the day, want what you want, do what you have to do, but also tell the truth so you can get access to what you actually want. But here in Houston, people love making dumb decisions. It feels so good.
Lying, fronting.
Yeah, a lot of.
What kind of jumped out at you that you felt like might be legitimate, what they're talking about, or you don't agree?
So first of all, I can't take Desmond serious at all.
And I mean, I can't take him seriously. You know, at the end of the day, what I liked about Houston's Lala, I believe that was her name. The main thing was to be truthful. To be truthful. Houston, it's huge. And I feel like, you know, first of all, if this is what you want to do as far as dating, how do you go about it? You have to remember too, there was back in the day, there was no social media. There was this thing called courting, where you court a person. You know, they don't do that anymore. I feel like if you really want to be in a solidified relationship, you definitely have to take your time. You just can't jump in. But what I'm gonna tell you what I don't like is they're saying Houston. This is all over. I understand that, you know, we are talking about Houston within itself, but this is all over. You also got to remember, like we were talking about earlier, you know, how people get into relationships on social media. You know, they've never met each other in person, and there's a lot of statistics have shown that there's a lot of relationships that had literally worked out through social media. You know, but as far as what Desmond was saying, no, I cannot take him serious. Seriously, not at all. I do feel like being truthful is the way to go. I feel like know what you want and don't settle for what you don't want. But this is the thing, Chad. Everybody has a side to them that people don't know or have never seen.
And may not ever see.
And may not ever see.
Yeah.
You have to be very, very cautious and take your time. As far as the sex part, I feel like this. You're grown. Whatever you're going to do, people have one night stands, you know, whatever you're going to do with your body, that's on you, especially if you are grown. Hopefully everybody's grown, but if you're grown. But if you really want to be in a solidified relationship, it really is about taking your time. What do you think?
She was talking about, you know, people lie and they have different agendas, right? But these are the people I feel like she's selecting in a way. I have a real simple philosophy.
Okay.
And my philosophy is this, because she wants a traditional type relationship where it's monogamous, it's one-on-one, which is what I'm sensing from her, what she's saying. She wants that traditional type of relationship, but she's not a traditional type of woman. She's a modern type woman.
Are you judging by her looks?
No, I just said like the way she's talking, like the way she's talking about how she's relating to men. First of all, if you're meeting people on social media, that tells me you're not really in that traditional mode anyway, right? When I say Instagram, they're talking about meeting. I've never met anybody on Instagram, and maybe just maybe I'm not young enough for that, but I've never met anybody and then just start dating someone on Instagram. That would be very disconnected for me. So that's not a traditional way, one, of meeting people. I know it's different now, but how do you even, because you're going to be looking at what they're posting, you're going to be looking at all these different factors that at the end of the day, it's social media. It's not really, it may not really be them. So if you're saying they're posting something on Instagram but when you meet them that they're not really like that person, well, you met them in a digital world, right? And you're trying to get to know somebody in that capacity. I live in an area where there's a lot of lounges. You know, there's a lot of people, young people, you know, probably under 30, you know, probably 25, and they're having a great time. Okay. My thing is what outcome you want it to be, right? If you're meeting someone at a lounge or a bar or something, but you have a different thing in your mind, what you want your outcome to be, that's probably not going to be a good match, because they're out at a singles bar for a reason. If somebody's a player, they didn't just start being a player. They were a player when you met them. So that's somebody that you selected to be around though. And you say, well, how am I supposed to know they're a player? Well, speaking for a man only, I feel like a man can say, I can be friends with someone. Okay. And maybe I can be physical with that person, but I may not want to be with that person. Young guys are usually not ready. You know, if she's talking like she might be 25 or something like that, you know, guys in that age range, they're not ready really for a relationship. They're building themselves up for something greater. So at that point, if you're really out here looking for a real relationship at that age, not all guys, there are some guys out there, but most young guys are trying to build themselves up to a level, whether it's financially or professionally, before they really feel like they want to get serious with a lady. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Let me say this, coming from a woman's view, of course, because that's what I am. But in all seriousness, though, I want to say this. So you know the word catfishing, right?
Okay.
Okay.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah. So catfishing, for people that don't know what catfishing is out there in Texas Tea land, it's a person basically that is putting on a total different disguise of whom you thought that person was. So for instance, if I first met you and I'm telling you all these things about me, and to come to find out none of them are true, that's catfishing. What happened was they started using that word prominently on social media, because that's what it was. So with that being said, people was putting up different pictures, you know, of them that really wasn't them, you know, until the person meets them in person, like, oh my God, you know, you don't look like your picture. Catfishing is not only just on social media. Catfishing falls under the line that there are people that have been in relationships for a very long time. And this goes back to the olden days. I'm going way back before social media even existed. There are people that were in relationships, as a solidified relationship, and had a whole other family on the other side of town.
Yeah.
That's catfishing. So, and it is in a sense, you know.
But you don't think the people knew that? You don't think both parties knew?
No, I don't think so. I think this is the thing. You know how they say first impressions are lasting ones? Mm-hmm. They are supposed to be, but I don't believe in that at all. People need to be authentic from the very beginning. There are some people, and I know we're going to dive into relationships again, but I want to say this. There are some people that are okay with their mate being in another relationship, you know, being poly.
Thank you.
Thank
you. There are some that like.
There are some that like that, but give that person, the other person that you're pursuing, the opportunity to make their own choice based upon your authentic self. You have to. Yeah, I don't think that. I think that at the end of the day, and you got to think that we're talking about back in the day, the only communication that people had was the phone line. They didn't have pagers. They didn't have cell phones. They didn't have iPads. You couldn't, you know, Google Map to find out where your man or your woman is if they say they're at the bowling alley, but they really over Bill's house. No, you know, but it's still the same. Be your authentic self and let that other person accept you or reject you. That's what the biggest problem is to me with dating. People put this foot forward and they want the person to think that, oh my God, you know, this person is everything. In all actuality, Chaz, we all have room for improvement.